Howdy, folks. Welcome to my retro mini room. Today, I decided I want to take a look at 12 rare and valuable games for my collection. And the reason I did these 12 games is because they were it's kind of a mixture of different consoles because they were, let's say the Wii U, for example. I don't have enough valuable games on the Wii U to warrant a top 10s list, but I do have a few that are worth some money. And then same goes to the 360, same goes to the PS3. So I combined them all with a few extras, so I could actually have a proper list here. We have enough games to look at that are worth some good amounts of money that are particularly rare and valuable, right? So to start with here's Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo. Now, in this case, this is just one I just simply overlooked when I was putting together my top 10 list for Super Nintendo. I think this would have just made it on there, but that's fine. I'll just include it here. So I've had this since we were kids back in, we got it in Christmas in '92 at my grandma and grandpa's house. I have home video of getting it when I was a kid, when I was running around with it, being like, I got Mario Paint. And now this box here, this is not my original box. This is a box I got off of somebody off eBay for a very fair price. It was really cheap. Like, we're talking like $50 or less. So I was very fortunate there. Very, very nice box. I couldn't have asked for better. So just considering this is original. But what I've always had, though, of course, so you got the game here. I did, even though the cartridge and booklet and everything inside is my originals, the box here is in one of those display only boxes. So I did get a hold of that pretty much like new. It was, unfolded. I folded it up myself, put the game in it, completed it, and I did that. I did that originally before I found this, and I just decided to just put that inside as extra, so it's really worth a little bit more when you factor that in. And then you got the mouse pad here, plastic, and then you got the mouse. So the mouse here, of course, it's discolored, just like pretty much it was 50-50 shot of consoles and peripherals and even cartridges discoloring from a gray to a yellow. And of course our mouse did in this case, but we played the daylights out of Mario Paint. What a fun game. Very great for kids. It's creative, and you could color and put music together and do all sorts of stuff. Mini games that we loved Mario Paint growing up, so that's very nostalgic for me. Okay, that's Mario Paint. And we'll move on to the next game. Alrighty, and the next game we're going to take a quick look at is Resident Evil 2 on the Game.com. So, the Game.com was a huge bomb of a attempt at a handheld console by Tiger. And Tiger, of course, many know as they put out those little mini handhelds since the 80s of those crappy little games and stuff. I've actually got a retro Transformers one, and the one I grew up with was a Double Dragon one. So so Tiger was like, hey, let's put together an actual handheld to compete with Game Boy and Game Gear. Yeah, that didn't work out. So they came out with the port of Resident Evil 2 on the Gamecom. And I remember the commercials for Game.com and everything. And I remember thinking, that looks lame. And it was. So I bought this because I love Resident Evil 2 so much. And I thought it was $15 brand new. And it's still in its case. As you can see, you got not 3D, but you got the black and white graphics, side-scrolling type gameplay and everything. And it's actually funny that they show from the intro, they show the zombie in the beginning from Resident Evil 1 in the intro. But anyway, so I just bought it as a knickknack for $15 because I love Resident Evil 2 and thought it'd be fun to have. Just I do that sometimes. I just buy random oddball things like that. And as you've seen, it shot up in value in a way I never expected. So cool. It's a valuable knickknack, and I'll take it, right? So yeah, Game.com, very weird console. I wouldn't mind having one if I paid very little for it, just as a gag a console to have. But otherwise, you won't see me collecting for it hardcore anytime soon, right? Okay, next game we're going to take a quick look at, which has been featured on the channel before, is Doom on the Atari Jaguar. So I just, for relatively cheap, and the fact that it's complete in very nice condition, I got this off of somebody on eBay, and I just love Doom. So I was kind of like, really, I've been trying to get a hold of each relevant port, or pretty much every main port of the game throughout the 90s. And this one, I saw the opportunity and took it, and it's jumped up in value since then. And it's just cool. I love this box art. The quality of this is actually pretty cool. So now, got a black and white booklet. Very nice. But otherwise, it's black and white, but it's a nice booklet, very thick booklet. And you got the reply mail, then you got the box, and you got the cartridge. So, and for those that don't know, the as you can see on your screen, there's the Atari Jaguar controller, and on the face buttons, the way it worked was you would take these little interfaces and you would place them on top of the controller, and they would become the buttons for said game. So each game had their own. And so I don't know if every single game, but many games had their own little interface pad that you would take and you would put on the controller, and it would make it the controls for that game, and they would be assigned to all their individual spots. Interesting concept. Of course, this cartridge is mint. Very cool. This is the only Atari Jaguar game I have. It's very interesting. But I just got this just for the heck of it because I love Doom. And, well, since I got it, and I knew it was going to happen, I was like, this is only going to become more valuable and harder to get, and it did. And it's just a nice knickknack. Now, the only other Atari Jaguar game that I actually want, and I actually want to play, is Alien vs. Predator on the Atari Jaguar, which is a very interesting game that I sincerely want to get a hold of. At the very least, have a physical copy of, but I would, at best, I would love to be able to actually play it and check it out, right? So anyway, but at first I have to get an Atari Jaguar, which I do not have. So anyway, the next game is one that I just discovered, so it was not in my PlayStation 1 top 10, but it would be now. Alien Resurrection. So I bought this for $30 years back. I just wanted it because I thought it always looked good and critics liked it pretty well. And it's a standout exclusive first person shooter on PlayStation 1. And then recently it blew my socks off how much it's worth. I was genuinely surprised. I had no idea. I wasn't even sure if right when I looked at it, or right when I heard it was that worth that much. I'm like, wait a minute, do I even have it? Am I crazy? And I was like, no, I have it. Now I have it right here. Yeah, and I remember spending like $30 on it and off eBay, and yeah. So all of a sudden it's worth money. That can always change. And I've been noticing there's been a few games lately that I know for a fact were worth like $50, $60, $70, or worth like 20, 30, 40 now, particularly on the Xbox 360. So it happens. The market does go up and down. There's a lot of games that do consistently hold their value, even if they go up and down a little bit. But there are some games that for a minute they'll be kind of hot, and then they'll cool down and become even to the point of being cold. So it happens. That's just the market for you. Okay, and the next game, it's really held its value somewhat over time. It's gone up and down a little bit, but now it's kind of in a lukewarm state. Is Peter Jackson's King Kong here. So there's the original Xbox version, not worth much. The 360 version, which they, for whatever reason, they had fewer prints of. I guess they must have had fewer prints. And it's fairly, honestly, I remember several years ago, it's been kind of a 360 gem, and it's a pretty good game. But it's one that 360 owners have been seeking out because of being low print, and so it's kind of always held its value. And I got mine because I got mine earlier on, so I didn't pay I definitely didn't overpay for it, and I just wanted it because I played the demo, liked the game, and then not long after I got it, I saw the trend of it becoming harder and harder to get, so I made sure to hold on to it. Okay, next game I want to check out real quick is Operation Darkness on the Xbox 360. So this game I thought looked interesting. I saw it in a video, thought it'd be interesting to check out. I do want to play it. It's set in World War II era, but it's a fantasy anime style. I believe it's a tactical RPG, kind of in the vein of Valkyrie Chronicles, which I like a lot. Just how it's just different like that. Although I think this is darker. It has like monsters and stuff. So this looked really interesting. It's not backwards compatible from what I could look up, but I will fire it up on my 360. Now here's the thing: this is factory sealed, and you would think, oh well, you don't want to open it. At the moment, this will change, but at the moment, and according to the market, it is only like a couple dollars more, worth a couple dollars more than a complete in box copy. Weird. That is highly unusual. It's almost always brand new copies. I see it every now and then. I've seen a couple things. I can't remember the other ones, but it's commonplace that if it's sealed, it's going to be worth more. Now, having said that, it will change. Obviously, logic tells us down the road, if I were to keep it sealed, it will go up in value for sealed copies. Open copies will go down in comparison, or they won't go up at the same rate. Whatever. I want to play it. It's not worth like $500 or something. I'm not worried about it. But for the moment, it is sealed, and I'm just going to, until I do play it, I'm going to keep it sealed. Because who knows, maybe I'll find a second copy, and then I won't need to open it, kind of like I did with Otage 2, right? So, interesting title. Plan on playing it. Okay, and then we're switching to the Wii U here, starting with Game and Wario. So, this surprised me. I remember it was starting to climb the ranks a few years ago. Kind of lost track of it. I only paid it was on clearance at the Air Force Base Exchange store when I was stationed there for like $15 or something, and I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. I hadn't had the Wii U for too long, and people like these Wario games. I never had the handheld ones. Those are kind of the ones that made it popular. And so I was like, well, I have a Wii U. I'll get the Wii U one. Well, now it's worth more money than I would have ever anticipated, and so I'm glad I have it. It's cool. And this would be something fun to play with somebody for some laughs. So I'm glad I have it for that. One of these days, if I have somebody with me and they're like, hey, let's fire up the Wii U and have some fun. All right, and the next game, another Wii U game, we've got Zelda Twilight Princess in HD. So I didn't get this on the GameCube. I was late to the game with Twilight Princess. I wish I did. I wish I had a GameCube version. But so I got this on the Wii U when it first came out. And I got this version because it was really not that much more. And it was this big box with the amiibo and everything. Here's some of the other amiibos it shows on the side here. Fantastic updated version of Twilight Princess. So this is the only way I've played Twilight Princess so far. Is on the Wii U. But here's the funny thing. So for a while there, I was like, oh, I need to use this Wii U for Smash Brothers and for Twilight Princess and it even works on Breath of the Wild. But the problem is, well, I was like, I don't want to open this, and then I saw it climbing up in value, and so I ended up getting these cards that have amiibo information on them where I didn't have to open this to use it. So I kept it sealed, and good thing I listened to my instincts because this has climbed up in value a pretty good deal since then. And because I saw the trend of it doing so, and I was right. And it did end up going up and up and up. And here we are. This is this is one of my most valuable, in my top 3 most valuable Wii U games. I actually need to finish this game. I never did beat it. I'm kind of behind on my modern Zeldas, to be honest. All right, and our final Wii U game here is Xenoblade Chronicles X. So this is certainly a game I started, really liked what I played, haven't finished it. I need to get back on this game. This is easily one of the best games on the Wii U. I really like it. And I got this, of course, all these Xenoblade games, I had never passed up an opportunity to get a special edition. Of course, I already mentioned before how I was gypped on Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because of what the Nintendo store did, and bots bought them out. But anyway, so take a look here. And I knew this would eventually become more and more valuable, but it actually was more than I expected here recently. At least from when I looked it up. I hadn't looked it up in a while. Of course, this has fantastic box, by the way. It's textured. It's textured on the front. Here's the back. And the content inside. Some really interesting stuff here. So we got this big art book here. I always love the art. I always love the art direction of these Xeno games. They're so cool. And we got different things for the game. Sometimes there's not enough appreciation for art direction, and some of these concepts and drawings are just really, really cool. Very cool. So you got the game. And I fully intend to get back on this and play it. Then I'm not gonna open this, but I don't really need to. But there's a certificate of authenticity, limited edition art print. Very cool. Very cool. Sorry, I was off camera there. And there's this little really cool heavy thumb drive here that, oddly enough, has this very flimsy and unshielded USB stick here. So that's, don't like that, because normally USB sticks have the housing over them, and this does not. So it's, but other than that, the quality of the rest of this is very heavy and metal and cool. So I actually need to get this on my PC and download the soundtrack from this. I know I have before, but it's been a while, so make sure I have it again. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X, very interesting game. Some would argue that it's the best out of the Xenoblade games, and because you got 1, 2, and 3 in this, right? So and this was kind of right. I think this was this was before 2. So you had Xenoblade Chronicles, then you had this, then you had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and then you had 3. So it's been kind of a weird release cycle with these games, right? All right, and the last 3 games we're going to look at here: Painkiller, Hell and Damnation, uncut. So at the time this came out digitally on 360 and PS3. I do believe I have it digitally on the 360, but I wanted a physical copy, and this was the physical copy I found at the time. And it was like $30, it was cool. I was like, hey, I wanted a physical edition because when Painkiller first came out on PC, I was like, oh man, that game looks awesome, and critics loved it, looked fun. Didn't really have a PC rig enough to run anything modern at the time. Still don't really. And then it came out on original Xbox. Was late to that one too. Then finally got this, right? And I finally played Painkiller. That's why I got it. I just always wanted the game, thought it was cool. And here in recent times, man, this thing out of nowhere blew up in value more than I would have ever anticipated. Because I knew it was a kind of a limited run of physical versions of it for fans, but man, did not expect that to happen. Yeah, did not expect that to happen. So this was a surprise that I discovered recently. So kind of like that game in Wario, right? And another surprise, even more so, that I've discovered a while back, Siberia collection on the PS3. So yeah, this one, when I first discovered this a while back, it really shocked me. The author of the Siberia series passed away. And so I started noticing a trend of Siberian games going up a little bit. But for some reason, this one, and here's the thing, and what makes this one special is, on the front here, this is the first print, the first run of this collection on PS3, where the Adventure Company is right here, and the green logo, the Microids green logo here on the disc, and you got the booklet, is not right. It's not on the front cover. So this first run of the game is unusually valuable, and I didn't even know it. I bought it brand new off Amazon for $30 years ago, just because I was like, oh, I always thought the Siberia games looked interesting, and ordered it, got it, and then forgot about it. So yeah, that was a pretty crazy thing that happened with this. So I just inadvertently ended up with a valuable variant of it. So happy about that. And finally, this is not a game, but it is a book of a game. Clock Tower 2, the official survival guide. Wow, I did not expect this to be as valuable as it is. I knew it was, last time I checked, it was like, $60, like, oh, it's because it's Clock Tower 2 and the game is worth a lot too. And Like I explained before, that was one of the few games I ever sold. I sold it to a coworker for $15 back in like I don't know, like 2004. I can't, or no 2005. I can't remember. A long time ago. Well, obviously the game is worth several $100s now, and even though it's not a very good game, I would have still much preferred to have kept it, knowing what in retrospect. But it is what it is. But I always held on to the book and never got around to trying to sell it. I just kind of held on to it, and yeah, it's actually one of the reasons I kept the book actually is because it actually gives you a history breakdown a little bit of the original Clock Tower games in North America and Japan. So and then the first sections here. So and that and I was like, well, I may not have the game anymore, but at least I'm able to look at it through the survival guide. And so, but I did not expect, and it has a mini guide to. Oh, that's right. So it actually has a Clock Tower, the original Helen's Quest. So it actually has some tips and tricks to the endings for the original Clock Tower, which is actually very helpful. So that I kept this for those reasons. That's what I originally kept it for. And boy, it shot up in value, and now it's a collector's item that I didn't even realize I had at this point. So, all right, those are 12 different games in this book, or 11 different games in this book for my collection that are rare and worth some money now that I wanted to kind of put together and make a video about. So if you like this content, please like the video and subscribe. I am working on getting monetized right now because I'm not I'm not yet. I'm trying to get more subscribers, trying to get more views. I want to build a community. I want to build my own little community because I'm passionate about this stuff, and I just want to talk about them, show them, and be just bathe in nostalgia. Because I've been collecting for over 30 years, and I just enjoy it. It's just what I like to do, and I want to share the love. So. All right. I'll catch y'all next time.